Hello and welcome back to the Streamline and Shine podcast with me, Steff Bolton. And today we are joined by this lovely lady, Claire Grayshan, who is a business growth coach. And she is on the podcast today to answer my questions about her journey as a business owner and how she's made things happen so that she can work smarter and not harder. So welcome, Claire.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction.
Oh, thank you. I do try. Okay, so we are going to get straight into it and we're going to come to your backstory shortly, but tell us about your business and what it is now.
Yeah, so I am a business growth coach. I work with predominantly neurodivergent women, whether they're diagnosed or just suspecting, and I help them grow businesses that are aligned to them, how their brain works, to achieve what they're wanting in their business. But often people come to me when they say, I can't be consistent in my business, I'm not hitting the goal that I want, and they've got successful businesses, but we always have a new goal. So I work with them to think, right, well, what's going on in your business? How is your brain working? What do you love doing? Where's the energy leaks? All these kinds of things to really figure out what an aligned business is to them.
Okay, I love that. And I love that, like, you're being inclusive to neurodivergent people, because I think it scares a lot of people, like the thought of not knowing enough, not being aware enough, like all of that kind of stuff. And also that you might offend someone, because I think that if you haven't got a lot of knowledge about neurodivergency, then it can be quite easy to offend someone, couldn't it? Like by using whether it's a wrong term or just being a bit ignorant, I suppose. Not that that's always a bad thing. It's just you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, for me, I mean, I'm the sort of person that I say what I think and say what I mean. So there's no hidden meaning or complexity. I'm an autistic woman at the end of the day who's also an ADHD. So I literally say what I mean. There's no pretense. So if somebody, it's a blessing and a curse. If somebody wants to ask me anything or clarify anything from a place of well-meaning, I am up for that. Like, I'm all about that, because otherwise, how do we learn about each other and how do we move forward? I mean, the reason why I sort of pivoted from coaching everybody and anybody to neurodivergent women is because I was that woman who was, paid thousands and thousands of pounds to sit in masterminds and saw everybody else nodding like, yeah, this is all great. And then walking away like, oh my gosh, I can't make this work for me. And I was sat there thinking, there's got to be a better way than this. Like, this just doesn't work for me. Like, I know that I'm going to struggle with this, whether it be, for example, back-to-back live launching. As an autistic woman, I'd be like burnout immediately. Yeah. It'd be fine on a one-off thing, but at one point, I was back-to-back live launching group programs, and yeah, on paper, super successful. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into this, but it just wasn't the right strategy for me. So it really, like, there's a few things that happened in my business that was sort of the catalyst for where I am now, and I actually really love that. You don't know what you're going to get. When I like being kept on my toes. So when I start working with a new client and we have that first call, my sort of edge, if you like, is to immediately be able to piece together the type of person they are, how their brain works, the things that they struggle with. And yes, a lot of it is to do with neurodivergent traits, if you have demand avoidance, then being tied down in a structure where you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this, might not be the best thing for you. If you are inconsistent with social media, maybe you need a different visibility method because that's draining your energy, like whatever it might be. And I like that different, you don't know what you're going to get until you get it. I like that.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Okay, so let's talk about what you touched on there. So when did you start your own business, and were you doing something different to begin with?
Yeah. So I actually had another life as a scientist. Okay, so that's what my qualifications are in. So I went to uni and did forensic science. I was a scientist. Wow. I tested drugs for a living, not orally. And you know what I mean? I was based in the labs, and I progressed up through that career. Then I was checking other people's lab findings and stuff like that. And I did that for years and years and years. And then I had my first child. I've got 3 now. So I had my first child, second child, and he was just a total different kettle of fish. Like, he was not settling into preschool, nursery, none of that. And it really made me look at it and think, is this the right path for us as a family? Obviously, years later, I find out we're all neurodivergent and, you know, we need different things and stuff like that. But at the time, I wasn't aware of any of this stuff. So it was on maternity leave when I remember sitting writing a pros and cons list with my husband about whether I remain as a scientist or I start a brand new business, having never done anything like this before. And he is such a supportive guy. It's a good job because I just do what I like anyway. So we went into the new business.
You got a good egg there.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really an option. You're either with it or you're not. But yes, no, we're very supportive of each other and our conquests in life. But yeah, so that's how it started. And initially it was a network marketing business, which I know that a lot of mums, you know, explore and get into. It was really the sort of start for me to look and think, what is actually possible? You know, can I build a client base using products from this company that I'm aligned with? Can I build a team? Can I train? Am I capable of doing that? Because I think you kind of lose your identity as your mum a bit, don't you? When you first have kids, you're like, who's Claire? Like, I'm mum now. Like, who's Claire? So there was a bit of that. And after building a really good business within that network marketing company, I just thought, I don't want this anymore. Like, I want something that's really aligned with me, just me, that I feel like I'm really impacting somebody else and really like helping them to progress to what they want to do. And at the time I didn't know how that looked. So I took a little bit of time out and I started a virtual assistant business. But what I quickly found was I was coaching people as a virtual assistant to build incredible businesses while I was, you know, charging a low rate myself, because I didn't have that confidence yet, and I sort of needed to see the proof in the pudding, if you like. So that's how I evolved from being a virtual assistant. People started booking in. I didn't just decide one day, right, I'm going to be a coach now. People started saying, look, I want a coaching session with you. How can I book that in? And then offers developed off the back of that. What sort of came after that was this sort of like, as a neurodivergent woman, especially if you're late diagnosed, so I'm 40 and I was diagnosed a couple of years ago. And I think if that's the situation for any of your listeners, like, they will know they've probably spent a lifetime of trying to fit in somewhere, even if they come across like I do, where people probably describe me as confident, say what they think and all that. People sort of get this impression when you can say what you feel that you are not a sensitive person or you don't care what people think, when actually what I found is, and what's certainly the case for me, actually you're probably more sensitive. You say what you think if you're an autistic person, generally because you don't have another way of communicating. That is the way of communicating. You say how you feel that you should respond. You know,
white, isn't it?
Yeah, you've asked me a question, I'm giving you the answer, you know. Which I actually really love and value from people. Like, I actually love the straight up honesty, but I get that some people find that confrontational, and there's that to learn as well. So you have a lifetime of sort of understanding this about yourself, and then you get to the point where you're like, well, I need to fit in. Like, I've spent a lifetime of trying to fit into these rooms, boxes, jobs, whatever, and now I need to continue that. And it isn't until you sort of address that you can really start to enjoy what you're doing, and it's actually really fun. And I would say that's only in the last few years for me that's happened, and it's not an overnight thing.
Yeah. So I suppose you kind of already answered this next question. So it's how and when did you realise that this is what you're supposed to be doing? But I think it just kind of happened naturally, didn't it? When, like, I think people started asking you for coaching sessions, and then you realised you were neurodivergent yourself, and now it's just kind of escalated into helping other neurodivergent business owners. So I think that's like a really nice way for things to just happen naturally, rather than you trying to force yourself into that box, I suppose. Because I think also having the understanding as a neurodivergent person yourself as well makes you really approachable, really understanding, like knowledgeable, all of the things. And I think it's always going to be hard for you to know what everything there is to know about neurodivergency, because there's like, it's a spectrum, like we were talking about before we hit record. So, but I think the way you talk about it, like the terms you use, all of that kind of stuff, I can see and I can sense that it's a natural thing for you to be doing. So
yeah, I mean, I'd never profess to be an expert in any neurodivergent condition.
no.
But I do have a lifetime of experience of being autistic and ADHD. And everybody else's experience of being autistic and ADHD is not going to be exactly the same as mine. But what it does mean is that I can understand how it feels to be running a business, have a goal in mind, know that you are more than capable of achieving the goal, and there's a resistance between you and the goal, and you don't fully understand why. It actually is so frustrating. It's like, why can't you just achieve that? Like, what's actually stopping me? I'm capable, I'm intelligent, I do all the things, I've been to all the things that I need to learn about, I've done all that, but yet I'm still not. And it's like almost like you can touch it, you can feel it, you can almost like taste it. Yeah. But you're not getting there. And it's because normally when I have clients that approach me and start working with me, normally this is an alignment issue. Alignment is a word that's bandied around a lot.
Oh, yeah.
For me, when I talk about alignment, what I'm talking about, and obviously you can have alignment in energetics, alignment in all these different things. For me, when I'm talking about alignment, when I'm coaching my clients, is alignment in several areas in their business that when you align them together, make it easier for you to take that step towards that goal. So it might be the energy that's being drained in your business from certain things. It might be the enjoyment of, what you're enjoying and what you're not enjoying. It might be the way that you've even put your offers together. You've done it because, well, this is what people in my niche do. But actually,
fuck that.
but actually, it doesn't work for you. And sometimes it's not that obvious. Like I was working with a client recently and she was like, I like helping my clients through this offer, but every time I get someone signed into it and it's really good money and I know that they're going to get an incredible result with me, but every single time someone signs into me, it pisses me off. And I'm like,
that's a big red flag, isn't it?
So when we looked into it, it was because it was a long-term offer. And she really felt like she did experience demand avoidance. Okay, so anybody who doesn't understand what I mean by demand avoidance, it's quite complex to explain. But essentially what it means is it's like an internal feeling that you have no control over, where it feels like you are, and this is obviously my own experience of demand avoidance, so somebody else or a textbook might say different, but this is my experience of it. Demand avoidance feels to me like somebody is putting a demand, like something I perceive as a demand or a expectation, and it's like boxes me in to the point where I physically have no control over the fact that I feel that I can't fulfill it. And when you experience that, but then you've also got the conflict of, but it's bringing me a lot of money and I'm helping my clients loads. And I love seeing that. It's actually really difficult to step away from that and be like, I need to bin this offer and do something different. It's difficult to stand back and because you're going to be conflicted. So we did tweak the offer and we did change it, and we changed it for her to feel more in control of how the offer was run. And now obviously she feels completely different about it, and she's actually selling a lot more of this offer because it's more aligned. So that's one like tiny example of misalignment that it's not obvious, because when we say, oh, I don't enjoy this, I think if you hated something, it's quite easy to be like, I'll bin that offer, I hate it. But when you're actually thinking, I like working with clients in this, but you don't know what it is that's not aligned, that's when it becomes trickier, and that's the bit that I like unpicking.
No, that sounds really interesting. I mean, if you're not happy with something, then you do need to delve into it. Like, it's your business at the end of the day. There's no one standing there holding a rule book over you. You can do it your own way. There's no, and I think that's quite a good thing to remind every business owner, but also probably more neurodivergent business owners, because they're trying to follow the crowd a lot of the time, aren't they? And like to fit in, like you said before, and no, fuck that. If you've got something that you want to offer and it's different to everyone else, then go for it, because it will make you stand out, I think.
100% people are attracted to the people that are talking specifically about them. If you're listening to something or watching something on social media and you see somebody talking about something that you've not heard somebody say it in that way before, and they're describing you to a T, they're obviously going to work with you because you get them, you know them, they can relate to you. So there's lots and lots of pros to doing that. But the reality is that a lot of people think, yeah, it's okay saying like, I'll do it my way. But then you have this, it's like the devil and the angel, isn't it? The devil's like, just do it how you want, like it's all good. And the angel's like, yes, but do you know that that's going to work? Are you going to sell? Are you going to bring the money in?
Yeah.
Are you going to? And you can't, sometimes it's very difficult to override that unless you are speaking with somebody or know somebody or seen somebody do the same thing and had a result. So for me, I've done so many different approaches over the years and years and years in my business. I've been a coach for over 5 years, and I had businesses before that, as we sort of touched on. All of the strategies work. All strategies will work because that's why they are there. That's why strategies are there. But some of them won't work as well for you as others. And it's as simple as that. It's not always easy to identify why or how when you're looking internally, because it's like you just said earlier, like you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know about yourself. And I think that's the trickiest bit. It's like self-auditing sometimes and being like, what is it about me? Is there something there that I'm not seeing?
Yeah. No, definitely. Okay, so moving on a little bit, could you tell us about your big focus for this year and why it's your focus?
Yeah, so at the start of this year, I made a promise to myself that everything that I was in pursuit of this year was going to be led by enjoyment, right? So I wasn't going to do something that is, I don't know, great income earner or something that I feel that would be the next natural progression to one of the offers or that I've got or any of that. What I was going to be led by is enjoyment. And I just kept feeling like I want to build a community more, but I'm not a Facebook group type of girl, right? Because that just drains me. So I thought, well, I want to start by actually seeing people again, in person. I do speaking events. I speak in people's masterminds and events and group programs, but a lot of it is online and, online summits, online masterminds and things. I thought I actually want to be in the room with people again. So I was nervous, but I started a local networking group called She's Connected. And we had our very first event just the other week. And honestly, when I say, people are like, why are you scared, Claire? You've been a business coach for like years. You know what you're doing. And I'm like, no, but this is new to me. And it can still feel nerve-wracking when you start something new, even though...
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good thing to do. So anyway, I started this networking group. I had loads of lovely women come along to this group, and it was just amazing. Like the community, the collaborations. For me, it was the impact, even just from one event, hearing collaboration conversations, hearing leads, hearing connections being made. I was like, yeah, I'm on the right track here. This is incredible. And then off the back of that, the messages and feedback that I was getting from the feeling of the event, because the feeling is everything, right? You need to feel like it's you. Like these are your people. Yeah. It's a bit of you. Like all the women that came weren't all neurodivergent, but they knew who I was because I was real from the beginning and said, look, this is who I am. This is what I want to create. And they stayed. Yeah. So off the back of that, more events are in the pipeline, and that is a focus of mine for this year. So I'm really excited about that. I've also got some speaking opportunities that have come up my way that I'm super excited about. So my focus overall is enjoyment, but a bit more specifically, it's those things because I'm excited about it.
So it's trying probably newer things that bring you enjoyment, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I've done speaking before, but different. This is something different. Yeah. So it feels exciting. And I think... And in terms of my clients, it's also filtering that through, like, what are they excited about? What's really, people say, oh, what lights you up in your business? But it's deeper than that. It's not, you just want to buy a holiday for your family or whatever it is that's on your vision board. You want to buy a house or whatever. It's not that. It's like day-to-day enjoyment as well. It's not just the bigger things. Because if you don't enjoy that journey, then you'll get to the goal,
No.
and then once you've achieved it, it'll be like total deflation.
Yeah,
So
you've got to enjoy it and have a passion for what you do, 100%. Because if you don't, you're just going to end up presenting it because it's taking up so much of your time, it's taking up so much of your energy, and all of that kind of stuff. So you 100% have to enjoy what you do. But if you can find even more enjoyment in what you do, then why wouldn't you? So, and I love that you've included getting in the rooms in that enjoyment, because I done a podcast interview just before Christmas, and we had to bring, like, each person that she interviewed, we had to bring one piece of advice for people to take into 2026, and mine was get in the room, because I don't think it's known enough that you can hold online meetings as much as you want. And yes, you can make connections that way. You can collaborate. You could get leads. You could get clients. Like, they can come from any direction, right? But I think you just make such a different connection. Like, it's a lot deeper when you get in the room, as long as it's the right room. Like you said, you've got to make sure that it feels right for you. So I would never go to a networking meeting that you've got to wear a suit, and you've got to wear your suits and boots, and you've got to have a 30-second elevator pitch and all that shit, because it's just not me. Like, I just want to go in, introduce myself, and chat with people and have coffee and cake, hopefully. Like, that's all I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the what do I normally call them? Like the snooty networking events. They're just not for me. So
yeah, I think we've all been to those events where you're like, oh yeah, this is not my people, and it's not a snobby thing or anything like that. It's, from my point of view, it's exactly the same as yours. It's like where you walk into a room and you feel like, oh, you're not going to get me, and I don't know if I'll get you.
Yeah,
and that's fine. That is fine. Like, it's just that you're in the wrong room, isn't it? It's just that, like,
exactly. Each to their own, and those rooms are for some people, which is fine. I mean, as long as all the rooms are getting full, it doesn't matter. But I won't be filling any of those ones. Okay, so what would you say is the importance of having, like, your biz besties around you, or finding your tribe sort of thing as a female business owner?
Oh my gosh, this leads into what we've just been talking about, doesn't it? Because I think when you are connecting with people that know, well, this is an example. First She's Connected event, goes in, and I thought, right, I'm going to start the year as I want to go on. I'm going to give my background on the story on how I even got to this point. So I shared about how one of my children was diagnosed, and that she turned around to me one day and said, well, if you've made me go to this appointment to get this diagnosis, then you need to go get one, because you're exactly the same as me. And that snowballed this journey that I then became on, because obviously I was diagnosed. So ADHD.
There's the autism speaking.
Yeah, honestly, like, let's just cut through the shit right now and get to the crux of it. And it's such, like, she doesn't realise how much of a blessing that'll be when she can harness that power without it, coming across any type of way that might be perceived negative by non-neurodivergent people. But anyway, shared this story, shared what my vision was, why we were there, and I did it in my way, relaxed. My northern accent, I live in Derbyshire, so they're not used to hearing that, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. And then three or was it 4 women came to me straight after, and I was literally like, I'm fairly confident talking to a room full of people, but it was a new thing for me. It was my baby. Like, I just started this, and I sat down, and 3 or 4 people came up to me at the end and said, oh, I really connected with you when you said about your story about getting diagnosed and about doing this, and your mission for this and your vision for that, because, and then they related it to certain experiences or visions that they've got themselves or in their own lives and businesses. Now, when you are able to do that, now obviously that's in a room with people in real life seeing each other face to face, but this kind of thing can happen in any place, right? So it could be in your DMs, in a voice note, it could be on a comment on a post, wherever it is. Because I've got biz besties, if you like, from masterminds I've been in years and years ago, that will still voice note each other now, every now and then. And it'd be so many months past, and you'd be like, how did you get on with that, what you said you were going to do? Having that connection with somebody where somebody really gets where you are, whether this is in business, whether this is in just finding out that you're neurodivergent and you need to relate to somebody and know that you're not just on your own, whether it be something to do with motherhood or school struggles, like a shared experience, that peer support on what you're doing is so valuable, because it enables you to have an inner confidence in what you are experiencing, doing, wanting, whatever it is. It gives you an inner confidence that you just wouldn't have if you were sat in a room on your own, not talking to those people.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd love to say we all should have this inner confidence, like, let's be real, having a validated experience with somebody else, you shouldn't be looking outward all the time, I get that, but having it validated can really go a long way to making you just be more sure of yourself, be more, certain. Yes, this is what I'm thinking. It's not, a crazy thought. Other people feel it too. That can validate you and it can help. So yeah, we don't need to look for it, but if it's there and you can like harness that and nurture those relationships, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, I agree. So, and I love that answer as well, because on most of the interviews that I done last year, we tended to hear having someone who gets it about being a business owner, because we've got, like, I mean, I've said it myself on my own podcast that my husband doesn't get it. Like, he just looks at me vacantly. So when we've done interviews like last year, most of our interviews were with other business owners, a lot of the answers were about talking to someone who gets it about being in business. So I think unless you're with someone who is also a business owner, it can be really hard to talk to them about like the day-to-day experiences, the big experiences, the crap experiences, all of it. So I know sometimes when I talk to my husband, he just glazes over, like it's like talking to a brick wall. So I've always said that that's my biggest reason, I think, for having like your people around you that understand what you go through, like at any time. But I do like that, knowing that people relate to you and knowing that you're having an impact as well. I think I like that answer that you've given. It's different to the others, which I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Claire.
Well, we don't like to do it the same way. You know what I mean? There's no point living one rule by one, another by another.
No, exactly. It'd be boring if we were the same, wouldn't it? So, okay, so if you could go back to when you first started, or if you were talking to someone who had a brand new business, what advice would you give them? Just one piece.
One piece.
Yeah, you can only choose one, I'm afraid. I'm being strict with this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the problem when people first start their business is imposter syndrome. And that comes from the confidence and the clarity, right? So as soon as you've got the clarity on what you're doing, and imposter syndrome can hit at any point in your business, right? Because you can pivot later on.
Massively.
And then, I think when you are battling with imposter syndrome at the start of your business and you're thinking, what if I can't do this? What if I can't make this a success? What if I can't give the result to the people that I want to give? Because, everybody has a first client. Okay, everybody in whatever business. I would love to be able to say to somebody at that point. In fact, I said this to one of my new clients recently who is at that point in a business. I said, look, you'll always have some level of imposter syndrome, but when you sort of get past this first initial stage, it will quieten down and you'll get to the point where you feel like, I know what I'm doing, I feel confident with this, and I'm going to go with what I feel my intuition is telling me to do. It might be then that you still need to seek advice to do what you want to do or whatever, and that's fine, but you'll trust your intuition. If you start trusting it a lot early on, it'll accelerate that journey. So it's just sort of allowing yourself to sit in the moment and be like, yeah, this is imposter syndrome, I'm labelling it there. That's what this is. And it's to try and keep me safe, but there's no lion. Like, I don't need to run. I just need to sit with it and override it. And we talk, a lot of people talk about not ignoring how you feel and stuff like that. But I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, it's never going to be useful to sit and listen to, you can't do this in your own head. You can't do this. You're not good at that. You've not done it before. Who do you think you are? Because this is what women put themselves through, right? Who do you think you are? Why do you think you're going to be any good at that? All this negativity that runs through your mind, just causing you pain, really, and it hinders your progress. So the advice that I would give is to recognise it, label it, and try your best to quieten it whilst you move forward. Because when you're taking the action, the imposter syndrome tends to quieten.
Yeah, I love that. And funnily enough, one of my words for this year is intuition, and to follow mine more. And interestingly enough, when I was at an event a couple of weeks ago, we were given our human design charts and like stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever like looked into it or any of it, if it even interests you, because when I first started my business, I was given mine and I was like, what sort of crap is this, in all honesty? But now that I'm more open-minded to different things, I took it on board, and I've actually got a sacral response, like a sacral authority. So I should listen to my gut more, because my gut will decide before my brain does whether something's right or wrong. So yeah, intuition is a big thing for me this year, and it was quite interesting that I'd chosen that before I learnt about my human design. So okay, so
you know deep down, don't you, with you, like your intuition is so powerful. It's like an underlying feeling that you've got no control over when it sort of perks up and says, and sometimes it's not actually convenient. You could be like, actually I'd just rather not do this new thing, and your intuition is like, but I just need to keep niggling at you about this because I think that this is the right step for you, and it can feel uncomfortable even though it's your intuition. And that's what it felt like with me with the She's Connected events. You know, it was like, I could do like a lot, you know, I've got things going on with school and so on and so forth, supporting my kids in different ways. I could probably do without this right now. Maybe I'll look at this, you know, next quarter or something like that. And my intuition kept niggling. You need to look at this, like this is something. And it's not because, you know, I was going, like, I'm happy with where I am in my business and things are going in the way that I want them to go and all of that. But it was there niggling. So yeah, 100% agree.
And you had a really good turnout. I was watching and I loved the video of you running into the event with your umbrella. I loved it.
Gotta keep things real, Steff.
Oh yes, we do.
On the morning of the event, if no one knows what it's on about, on the morning of the event, you know, this event that I've just said I was a little bit nervous about holding because I've not done one before. It was a national weather warning. So where I live is a tiny rural village, and all my drive was flooded. So that was fun. And then I had to rush through these rural, you know, villages to get to where I needed to be with my husband's golfing brolly. And I could see a lady in front of me running to my event, and I was going to be late for my own event. So I had to run in front of her. And then I got to the event and I was like, oh, hi. And she was like, I've just seen you. I was like, yeah, I know. My drive flooded.
Don't tell anyone. Okay, so what is the big dream for you? Like, what is the big scary goal for you and your business?
Everything that I do is multifaceted. It all leads into one. There's never a just, I want to, I don't know, you know, do this or do that. One goal that I do have that is a bit, leads on from things that we've talked about today actually, is I would love to host a business event predominantly for neurodivergent women or women who feel that they are like, I call them rebellious business owners. You know what I mean? Like business owners who might not relate to the neurodivergent title, label, whatever you want to call it, but actually know that they do things differently, right? So it's like a rebellious women in business movement where we have this event and embrace all of that. And I would love that. It's been a niggle for a little while. So yeah, we'll have to watch this space for that.
Okay, that's interesting. So this is the last question, and this is kind of linked to the theme of the podcast, which is called Streamline and Shine. So, how have you streamlined things in your business? And I know I'm talking to an ex-VA here, so I'm hoping you're going to give me a good answer.
It's funny, isn't
So
it?
whether it's like systems and processes, managing your time, having more boundaries in place, all of that kind of stuff. What have you done to help you achieve your goals?
Yeah. Well, sitting here as an ADHDer, right, the last thing that I need to be doing is boring stuff, because that totally cramps down on any creativity, any selling, any flair, anything, any edge that I have, it shuts it down. So yes, I did used to be a tech VA, which is laughable now, because I do understand the tech, you know, and I can do it myself, but I hate doing it. So luckily for me, I have somebody who loves that stuff. My biggest words of advice there would be, if you're like me, 100% get somebody who loves tech, because if you've got a busy brain, automations are... I talk to my clients a lot about decision loops, and I say, look, you've got too many decision loops open right now. You've got too many, which means that it's stunting what you're doing in other areas. It's meaning you're procrastinating, you're not being able to make decisions because you've got too many open. If you've got automations that are closing them decision loops, such as, do I need to send this now? Should I be following up on that? How am I onboarding? Literally, like, my clients come on board with me after, you know, we have the discussions in whichever way we're discussing, whether it be voice note or call or whatever. But then when they've made that decision to work with me, that onboarding is automated. It still feels personal. They still get everything they need, but it's completely automated. So what do? I get to do the bit where I speak to them and find out if we're aligned, what we're excited about working on. And then I jump into all the fun stuff on the calls. So all the other bit, all the noise, all the, do I need to follow up this? Do I need to do that? Should I be sending them this? That's gone. And then my busy brain can be busy on the things that feed that enjoyment, that intuition, that alignment. And that is really, it shouldn't be underestimated. It's a key to success, I think.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so we've come to the end. So thank you so much. I've so enjoyed our chat. I mean, it's always interesting to speak to people who I've not, like, we've chatted before, we've been at a couple of events together, and I know we've spoken in DMs and things like that, and we've actually got quite a lot in common, despite me not being neurodivergent as far as I'm aware. But it's always nice to just go that little bit deeper for me. So I've really enjoyed this interview, so thank you.
No, thank you for having me. I think it's one of them things in it where, you know, when you start speaking to somebody and you know straight off, yeah, you get me. Like, it's like I mean, I'm quite, as you know, sarcastic. I'm quite direct. I'm quite, you know, I might make a joke. Yeah, you know, I might make a joke and then not laugh after and see how that sits. Some people like hate that, you know, and I think when you find your people, like, it's all good. There's no, how I describe it is like there's no resistance, is there? You know, like if you're walking down a river as opposed to walking up it and trudging through the mud, it's a lot harder when you're speaking to people that, you know, just get who you are as a person. Yeah, it's a joy, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, so please can you tell everybody listening where they can find you and what you've got to offer them, because we're going to link everything in the show notes afterwards for them.
Yes. So I am mainly on Instagram. So I'm happy to connect with anybody on Instagram. My handle is @thevirtualvibeuk. And in terms of what I can offer, so there is, if you're on the podcast now and you're thinking, right, I've got a business, I have clients, I'm knowing what I wanted to do, or I'm right at the beginning and I don't actually know what I need to do first. Doesn't really matter which. You're at a crossroads thinking, what's my next aligned step? What should this strategy look like? I have a aligned strategy quiz on my Instagram that's free to anybody. You can pop in a couple of answers to some fun. It's fun, you know. I don't want to do anything that's not fun, let's face it. Fun questions, but it'll give you a strategy move that is aligned to you. And there's so many different answers on this. So it's not just like 1 out of 4. You know, there's a lot of different answers, and you'll get one that is suited to how your brain is, what types of things, you know, are aligned with you, all that kind of stuff. So that's available on there free. But obviously we're on your podcast, Steff. So I wanted to do something a little bit extra special for your listeners. So if you're listening today, and this is something, by the way, that I've not actually ever done before, because it's a bit of a steal. So for your listeners, there is an exclusive discount code to get £50 off a one-to-one strategy call. Now, the strategy calls I don't really put out there very often. I normally work with my clients long term, but I do understand that sometimes you just need to bounce off your ideas and see what you need to do next, like get unstuck. So I'm more than happy for your listeners to offer that with the discount code podcast50, and then they can access that through you.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. That's so kind. And it sounds epic as well. I might do your quiz.
Tell me what you get. I need to know what you get. I'll know so much about you if you just tell me the answer.
Okay, I might do it later. Right, well, thank you again for joining us, Claire.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Streamline and Shine. If you have questions on what we covered inside, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Bolton_virtual_solutions, or you can email us at teambolton@boltonvirtualsolutions.co.uk. We absolutely love hearing from our amazing community and are always here to support you. If you'd like to be interviewed on a future episode, please drop us an email letting us know which topic you'd like to speak about, and we'll get back to you. See you on the next episode, lovelies.